Julian Mantle was the kind of man people admired from a distance. He walked into a courtroom and the atmosphere shifted. He had presence, he had power, and he had money, the kind of money that buys respect, luxury, and the illusion of happiness. His red Ferrari wasn't just a car, it was a symbol of victory, of status, of a man who had made it. But what people didn't see was the price he was paying. Julian spent more time in court than in his own home. He barely slept, ate whatever kept him going, and was constantly glued to his phone. His relationships suffered. Friends drifted away. Lovers gave up, and family became strangers. And yet, he kept telling himself it was worth it because he was successful. But deep down, Julian knew he was trapped. Every case won, every dollar earned, every possession gained gave him a quick high, but never lasting peace. Like pouring water into a bucket full of holes, nothing ever stayed. Then came the day his body revolted. In front of colleagues, in the middle of a heated trial, Julian's chest tightened. He gasped for air, stumbled, and collapsed. The invincible lawyer, the man everyone saw as unstoppable, was lying helpless on the floor. It was more than a heart attack. It was a message: change or die. For weeks, Julian reflected on his life. What good were the suits, the house, or the Ferrari if he was miserable? What good was his reputation if he didn't even enjoy living? And slowly, he made a decision most people would never dare to make. He gave it all up: the cases, the career, the wealth. He sold everything, including the Ferrari, and vanished. When Julian returned months later, people were stunned. He looked different, not just healthier, but lighter. There was a glow in his eyes, a calm in his smile. It was as if he had shed the skin of his old self. And he carried with him stories that sounded almost unreal. Julian had traveled to India, to the remote Himalayas, where he lived among monks known as the sages of Savannah. They had no mansions, no cars, no fame. And yet, they radiated joy, peace, and strength. They welcomed him, taught him, and slowly, piece by piece, rebuilt the man he once was into someone new. One of the first things Julian noticed was how the monks treated their thoughts. They told him the mind is like a garden. Most people let weeds grow unchecked: negative thoughts, regrets, fears. But the monks carefully planted seeds of positivity, gratitude, and focus. They showed Julian how to visualize his goals so clearly that they felt real even before they were achieved. They meditated daily, not as an escape, but as a way of sharpening the mind. Julian realized that for years, his mind had been running him instead of him running his mind. And he began to take back control. But it wasn't just about thinking differently. It was about living with intention. The monks told him, "A man without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder moving, but lost." Julian thought about his own life, all those years in court, chasing money, climbing ladders. But ladders leaning against the wrong wall take you nowhere. For the first time, he asked himself, what do I actually want from life? Not money, not fame, but meaning. And with that question, his new journey began. The monks also instilled in him the power of discipline. Their lives were simple, but incredibly structured. They woke before dawn, cared for their bodies with exercise and clean food, trained their minds with silence, and nurtured their spirits with rituals. Julian learned that discipline isn't restriction, it's freedom. It always thought success was about giant leaps. But the monks showed him it was about small steps, repeated daily, that compound into greatness. They compared discipline to drops of water carving stone. Alone, each drop seems weak, but over time, it shapes mountains. Then came the lesson of time. One monk said to Julian, "Imagine you wake up each morning with $86,400 in your account. You must spend it all before nightfall. Whatever you don't spend is lost. What would you do? Julian replied, I would use it all. The monk smiled. That account is your time. Each day you are given 8 to 6,400 seconds. Once the day ends, they're gone forever. Why do you waste them? Julian felt a chill. He realized how much of his life he had wasted chasing things that didn't matter. From then on, he began to live each day as if it truly mattered. The monks also taught him about joy, the kind that comes not from taking, but from giving. In his old life, Julian lived for himself. Every case was about his win, his name, his success, but the monks lived for others. They gave advice, shared food, helped strangers. And they seemed infinitely happier than the wealthiest people Julian had ever known. He understood a powerful truth. When you lift others, you rise too. Happiness multiplies when it is shared. Finally, Julian embraced harmony. The monks reminded him, what use is wealth without health? What good is success if you have no one to share it with? Julian had been lopsided successful in one area, broken in every other. Now he sought balance. He cared for his body, moving it daily. He cared for his mind, protecting it from negativity. He cared for his heart, repairing relationships and showing gratitude. And he cared for his soul, spending time in silence, in nature, in peace. He no longer measured life in cars or cases won, but in moments of alignment. So what does all this mean for us? Julian's story is not just about one man. It's about all of us. We live in a world that tells us to run faster, earn more, own bigger. But deep down, we know something is missing. We fill our lives with noise, but silence terrifies us. We chase success, but forget to ask, success for what? You don't need to sell your Ferrari to change your life. But maybe you need to let go of your version of the Ferrari. For some, it's endless scrolling on social media. For others, it's chasing approval or burying themselves in work to avoid facing the truth. Whatever it is, holding on to it costs. Julian discovered that the Ferrari had never been the problem. The real problem was what it represented, a life built on illusions. By letting it go, he created space for something better: purpose, clarity, freedom. And maybe, just maybe, the same is true for you. What are you holding on to that looks shiny but leaves you empty? What is your Ferrari? And what kind of life could you build if you finally chose to let it go? Because at the end of the day, happiness isn't found in possessions. It is found in mastering your mind. It is found in living with purpose. It is found in discipline, in giving, in balance. And it begins the moment you decide to stop chasing more and start living with meaning. Julian Mantle gave up everything society told him was important. And in losing it all, he gained what actually matters: peace, joy, freedom, purpose, and maybe. If you dare to let go of your own Ferrari, you'll find the same.